Hi, my name is Natalie Britt and I'm the new P&C Director of Hayes and really excited to be here. I'm in week 4 this week and have already met some fantastic people around the business, and I really hope that we get the opportunity very soon to meet face to face. So very excited to be here, but really focused on today the message around mental health and wellbeing, and want to explain the significance of that topic, both from a workplace perspective but also individually. And I wanted to share with you some of my personal experiences with mental health and wellbeing. And I know we're going to hear from our leaders today about their own experiences. So I'm really excited to be sharing this message and explain the importance of it.
When I was asked to participate in promoting the importance of looking after our mental health and well-being, it was a bit of a no-brainer. I'm extremely passionate about this topic. I think our mental health is one of the most important things that we have as individuals. So why is caring for our mental health so important? In my opinion, our mental health governs our holistic health. And well-being, it impacts our thoughts, our behaviours, our emotions. So looking after our mental health, allows us and can lead to better physical health. It supports improvement in motivation, performance, productivity. It's conducive to healthy relationships in our life, and just providing a really good quality of life when we look after our mental health and well-being.
Well, I think that's a really interesting question. As human beings, we walk around having absolutely no idea what's going on with somebody else's life, let alone whether they're in a good headspace, whether they're enjoying themselves, and are in a good spot. So I think it's really, really important to be a role model in society as an adult, in the community. I think there is an expectation, and I have an expectation of myself, to try and understand how people are. I think happiness is the most important thing in everyone's lives, especially in the lives we lead today, which are really complex and have a lot going on. I think we've got a responsibility to others in the community to try and understand how they're doing, what's going on in their lives, and obviously try and help if you can. As a family man and having 2 children, it's incredibly important to me that I try and set the example for my children as well as my wife, to be a role model and be a role model around both my family and friends, and try and help to support others in the community. So I think it's an incredibly important topic. It's a topic that can sometimes fall by the wayside in the really, really busy lives that we lead.
Caring for your own mental health is so important. We lead really busy lives at Hayes. Many of us have busy lives in work, busy lives out of work, and the importance of looking after yourself during that time is absolutely critical. Self-check on mental health will ensure that you are coping with your ability to deal with stress, working more productively, and having a much more harmonious life in and out of work.
The things that I do to look after my mental health, things like exercise, once every day or once every couple of days to do something physical, I find really works for me, whether that's a run or playing sport. With the lockdown situation, that's quite limited, but you can still do some things. Also spending time with family, spending time with friends and people that you can really relax with and unwind with and be your true self. I was actually listening to a video that was made by Jim Carrey talking about mental health. And he calls depression the need for deep rest, and deep rest from yourself, because the weight of expectation and burden that you put on yourself for portraying who you are and maintaining a certain integrity or a certain character is what really weighs people down from a mental health perspective. So trying to keep up appearances, trying to keep that face, trying to keep that happy demeanour when you're not happy. So give yourself permission to take a rest. So I think it's kind of two ends of the spectrum that I use to keep my mental health in good order. It's exercise to get the endorphins going and to get outside and get some sun, but also giving yourself permission sometimes just to do nothing and just to reflect on things and to rest.
I think the most important thing is just dedicating time, whether it be every day, every couple of days, to focusing on that. For me personally, I love getting out and doing yoga and meditation. It's a routine that I do. When I'm allowed to go to the gym, I do it after going to the gym a few times a week. Working from home, no gyms, so that's following a run around the bay. And it's just a combination of yoga and meditation, some things I've picked up over the years. I try and do it barefoot on the grass, or when I'm able to go for a swim on the sand. It's just really, for me, it's just about concentrating on blanking out all the noise in life and just coming back to a single thought. So they're the things that work for me, but I'm also a big believer in that growth and contribution are big factors in your mental health. I think when you're at your happiest, you're growing and you're contributing. So things like volunteer work. I joined the SES a fair while ago. I also did volunteer work in India at orphanages and that kind of thing. For me, it was something that was very sobering, and it really helps, again, with that perspective. But I don't think you need to go overseas to feel like you're part of something. I mean, there's heaps of projects going on at Hayes at the moment, and I appreciate it's towing the company line, but I genuinely get a buzz out of being part of those projects and helping steer our vision and giving my input.
For me, some of the tangible things I do to manage my own mental health and well-being is prioritising some kind of physical activity. I go to F45 and I do try and get there as many times during the week as I possibly can. One of the things I've noticed through the way that we work now remotely is that our diaries can fill up very quickly with back-to-back meetings with not necessarily any downtime. So I do lock out time to try and get to the gym every lunchtime. If I have a really important meeting that I can't renegotiate, then that's okay. But I absolutely do try and prioritise that time for myself to get away from the home office and also to get some activity because we know that being active is one of the best things we can do for our own mental health. Something else that I do on occasion, depending on, whether I might be feeling, a heightened level of stress or overwhelm, is meditation. I would not suggest that I'm an expert, but just prioritising even a 10 or 15 minute guided meditation in the morning before I face the day has really, really helped me in those times of overwhelm, I guess. And it just allows me a little bit of downtime and an opportunity to refocus. Something else that I am a huge believer in, and I'm really blessed with where I live on the Gold Coast, is getting outside for a walk when you can and getting some vitamin D. So for me, I will try and get down to the beach and just go for a walk, whether it's 10 minutes or whether it's an hour, it doesn't really matter. But just being able to get some vitamin D, the happy vitamin, right, is something that I think we should all try and figure out a way to do, if not daily, then certainly as often as possible.
For us to continue having a culture within Hayes that kind of allows us to have these conversations, it really is all about empathy and just being vulnerable and open about it. I'd like to think that my team and anyone can come and have the conversation with me, and equally I hope that I'm a leader being able to, say that I'm seeking different support as well. There's loads of opportunities out there and loads of people who are willing to hear you out and offer advice and go for a walk or have a face wine if you're in lockdown. So I think it's all about that empathy, the understanding, and knowing that it's not uncommon anymore, and that you are allowed to talk about your mental health.
For me, look, I think in any organisation, having wellbeing and mental health on their agenda in team meetings and leadership updates is so important, particularly in this day and age where we're dealing with a pandemic that is going to be with us for quite some time. So making sure that we are actively talking about the resources available both internally but also externally. So, one of the initiatives within P&C is to focus on what our employee assistance program and our provider is giving to us on a daily basis around latest resources, latest articles that we could be sharing to our staff is really important, and a continued focus of P&C, but also being able to tap into those external partners that are the experts in this field, like the lifelines of our industry that are there to support and provide professional counselling when needed. So it's really important that we maintain those relationships and make sure that we are actively promoting and supporting our staff, go and reach out and get additional support if they can. I think as an organisation, embracing flexibility is so important. For me, it's about being able to have policies and procedures in an organisation that embraces flexible work practices, so that when you do need time out or you do need to have a day focused on your wellbeing, we have policies and practices to support that. And I know we have the one day of wellbeing, but it doesn't stop there. You can absolutely take more time off to focus on your mental health and wellbeing, and management are supportive of that, and we absolutely embrace and encourage people to take time out of the workplace when they are going through particularly difficult periods. For me, I think being able to have mental health and wellbeing on your agenda in team meetings is so important. So, I started week one with, making sure that my team had wellbeing goals that they were, focused on and that they were measuring. So they all have a wellbeing goal that we track and we measure, and that's to make sure that we have a culture of sharing what we're doing in that space, and if we're not okay, being okay with that and taking some time out and talking about those challenges. So I think having authentic, real, open conversations about mental health and wellbeing needs to be something that we just do. It is part of our DNA, and feeling like we are not judged and criticised for having a hard day or a bad moment because of the stresses of work, the stresses of COVID, or any other issues that we've got going on in our personal life, because we know that what happens in our personal life can have an impact on your work life. So it's about embracing and sharing those challenges and feeling vulnerable at times, and being open.
So how can we continue to foster a culture of asking our employees if they're okay, and supporting mental health discussions in the workplace? Generally, I don't think people necessarily remember what you say or do, but they will remember how each interaction makes them feel. All it takes is a simple question, some warmth and encouragement to lift somebody's spirits. And if we all take the actions and behaviours from Are You OK Day into our everyday, it's a really good way to start fostering a culture where people support each other. Don't wait for the right moment. Make each moment the right moment to connect with colleagues on mental health and wellbeing.